Greetings, and welcome to Channel OtherDoc. I'm Jim, I use he/him pronouns, and this is the premiere of our mini-campaign of 50 Fathoms. This is a Savage Worlds game written by Shane Lacy Hensley, one of the earliest created for that system, specifically. And it takes place in the world of Caribdus, once a more standard epic fantasy realm that was cursed and buried under 50 fathoms of water by deadly sea hags, and soon thereafter began to draw in ships from Earth's age of sail through mysterious storms. And we'll get into a bunch of the lore and stuff as we go. But in the meantime, let me first mention that there is still a donation drive running on this channel, done primarily by our Sprawl campaign that we do on Thursday nights. That is a donation drive for the Bale Project. We are Team Phyllis, and I've gone ahead and put a link up out there in the chat for anyone who wants to check that out. That is goes to a charity dedicated to lending bail assistance to protesters, something that is very important right now. So feel free to go and check that out if you are so inclined. I also like to plug Campaign Zero on these as well. I've just put a link up there for anyone who wants to check Campaign Zero out. That is an organization dedicated to ending police violence. So please feel free to go and check those out, and because those are things incredibly important right now. But let us go around and say hi to our players here, find out who they are and who they are going to be playing in this little mini campaign. And we shall start with Alyssa. Hello.
Everybody, my name is Alyssa, and I am playing Perry, the Doreen Salvager.
Excellent. Oh, I could have totally done, next time. Just realized, wait, I forgot this is one of those settings. I could put more information down below. I'll do that next time. Now let us head over to Jenn. Hello.
Hello. I am Jenn. I'm playing Marcel St. Fleur, and I am a human sea rover.
Awesome. And now let us head to another new face on the channel, Ernest. Hello.
Hello. My name is Ernest. I use he/him pronouns. Tonight I'll be playing Dr. Elijah Stone, the surgeon.
Excellent. I just want to say thank you all so much for the subs that are coming in. That is wonderful. Very much appreciated. And the gift subs. Thank you, May, for doing that. That's very cool. Now let us head over to James, or Jimbeaux. Hello.
Hey there. I'm James, or Jimbeaux to my friends. I am playing Kistris, the Kraken elemental mage.
Excellent. And finally, over to Anna. Hello.
Hello. Yes, my name is Anna. I use she, they pronouns, and today I am going to be playing Maria, who is a human inquisitor that has secretly defected from the Inquisition.
Excellent. Awesome. I cannot wait to get into all that. In the meantime, though, just as a reminder, like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it or put it behind a veil, so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Then finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it if we say or we do things and then we think maybe that might have been a little too much, or if we're moving into a difficult topic. And then everyone else can respond to that again with an X, an N, or an O to let us know if we're still doing okay. And so this is our session 0. We're going to be just taking this session to establish a bunch of things about this mini campaign that I will then use as prompts to figure out what's actually going on, and we'll kind of go from there. Let me go ahead and open up my Excel file so that I've got that ready to take on any and all information that you folks would like to provide to me. So that's going to go there. Okay. The world of Caribdus, basically the short version is that there used to be this big, massive continent, and upon it, there was a kingdom. It was sort of a somewhat more traditional medieval fantasy setting, but there were these three sisters that the king decided to execute, and sort of had them out on the cliffs and just was waiting for the tide to rise, basically to drown them. That was the manner in which they were executed. But these folks had a death curse that they brought forth when they called out toward the end. It began to rain. And even as the water engulfed them, it continued to rain, and it kept raining for a considerable amount of time after that. It rained long enough to bury the continent under 50 fathoms of water. Needless to say, while the apocalypse was going on, the people in the kingdom were not terribly happy. They ended up chasing the king to his death in a watery grave, because it was also shortly not long thereafter that the three twins triplet sisters. The three sisters arose as the sea hags, and basically took over this area in the center of the whole thing. Why don't I show you that? Let me show that to everyone so you can see what it is that I am talking about. This map, where we got it. The Flotsam Sea now spans between, once there was a big landmass, we now have the Flotsam Sea, where all the debris of things from former times happened. Another unusual thing also that happened was not long after this occurred that these strange storms, mysterious storms, started bringing in beings from another world. This other world, as it turned out, was Earth. It was people on Earth were seeing this maiden out in the middle of these storms, and their ships were compelled to go into the storms, and they came out amongst the Thousand Isles in the world of Caribdus. The points on Earth also are seemingly just usually from within different parts of the Age of Sail, generally somewhere within I think it's roughly the 1500s through the late 1700s to early 1800s, possibly. They're still not sure why this is happening. It's some strange magic, probably part of the curse. A lot of folks from Earth from these time periods have gone missing. Goodness knows what it's done to the Earth timeline, but that's not our concern. This is this world that we are now living in. Amongst it's brought forth a lot of English and Spanish and French and Dutch and other seafaring folk. There are vanguard. It's been like 13 years since the initial curse began, so it's the humans, spreading as they do, have sort of have colonized rather a lot and have tried to restore their empires. The Spanish Inquisition is here. The East India Company is here. All of the most horrible people from that era are here. Blackbeard apparently is here. So there's a lot. But let us now see what we are interested in covering. As we go through here, I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions, as is my wont for sessions 0, and we will see where we land on a number of things. So, the first thing I'd like to do is to go around, and we got little tidbits. I'd like to go around and get a few more details about the characters, whatever you'd like to share about the character, the backstory, if you like, who they are as a person. You can share what they look like if you like. They're, what they do on the ship. You're all going to be on a ship, which probably isn't going to have. I'm thinking we're going to end up with probably not a huge ship. It'll probably be a ship of like just you folks plus another dozen maybe. I think, but if you guys want to go in another direction, we can totally do that. So we're going to start with your characters. And so I will begin once more with Alyssa. And tell us a little bit more about Perry.
Perry is a Doreen, which are sort of slim, blue-gray skinned dolphin-like people. They're semi-aquatic, so they can live on land or in water, but they're generally more comfortable in the water. Perry sort of makes their way doing salvage because they're so good at swimming and diving. So it's easy for them to dive down and bring up sunken treasure and whatnot. And they also do a little bit of repair around the ship.
Excellent. Cool. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on for Perry, or anything about why she does these things, or why they do these things, or do we want to hold off on that for now?
Well, back during the days of the long swim, when the land was flooded and we had to leave our sunken homes, we tried to seek help from various other aquatic races and ended up making enemies of one of them, or they decided that we were their enemies. So there aren't necessarily a whole lot of other Doreen around. We're sort of scattered. So I ended up working with this crew as a sort of a found family, I suppose, or it's nice to not be alone, even if we're all a little different.
This is true. Okay. Excellent. So you had you then had direct experience of dealing with the Kahana, I would assume. More, and I guess it's one way to look at this. This is pretty simplistic, but I guess one way to look at this is that the Doreen are more like dolphin people and the Kahana are more like fish people.
Yep.
Deep ones? Who knows? But who knows? But yeah, there is basically the land and space issue. That's a big one. Land, water. Well, let's head over to Jenn. Tell us about Marcel.
Marcel is a human. They were a Haitian revolutionary, but once the revolution was over, they realized that they were more ready to be a part of the revolution than like the actual reconstruction of society. So they decided to become a pirate, a mercenary, and that's how she found her way into Caribdus, and is a sea rover.
Excellent. About how long has Marcel been in Caribdus?
Since the revolution is in 1804, so since around 1806.
Awesome, and I think it's very it's interesting because then if you're talking about it this way, because I think Caribdus probably has a completely different calendar, and even different people from Earth are going to go by different years. So it's very interesting. Let's just sort of see how this goes. Let's see. Yeah, it's about that long. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask something else, and I realized that it actually is covered under a question I've got later, so I'm going to hold it for that. And Ernest, tell us a little bit more about Elijah. You're muted, sir.
Super muted. Yeah, Elijah is a surgeon. He's always been a surgeon. He was a surgeon on the battlefield at the tail end of the American Revolution, and he fought very hard for himself, but also for his friends, also and his freedom. He's never really liked the water, never really liked boats. But he got a letter from a friend who said, come to Europe. Things are better here for us. And so he said, fine, I'll pick up everything I own and I'll come to Europe. First foot on a boat, and suddenly he's in this strange land full of strange things and strange people. But I would suppose that kind of gravitating around this crew. That these crew are all different, and he doesn't really want to treat them any differently because he was treated differently for being different. He's also a lot older. He's in his 50s, an old man, old soul, just trying to get by. He's made a bit of money at his craft, and he's pretty sure he's going to die here. He's not. He's sure he'll never see home again. Like most people, humans who end up here.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing the humans are gonna worry about. How has he found it trying to adapt? I mean, he's had to adapt not only to doing stuff, ship surgeon versus the doing it on land. So being a Caribdus has got to be an entirely different level of this whole thing for him.
I think the biggest thing he had to overcome was figuring out how to do surgery on all the different things.
Yeah.
That were that are in Caribdus. There are it's like it's not just people. There are. I mean, of course, there are Basquani who are like just left of human. But then there's Doreen and these crab people and
yeah.
Oh, there's a guy with squid on his face. Is he a squid? I don't know. But I'm going to find out.
Awesome. Excellent. Brilliant. And now over to James. Tell us about Kistrus.
So, as mentioned, there are people with squids on their faces. The Kraken look like your standard Illithid or Mind Flayer. They have the tentacle faces. And they are known throughout Caribdus as being some of the most powerful sorcerers. And their race stood hard against the Sea Hags, and the Sea Hags annihilated them. The Kraken Navy used to be enormous. They now have one ship. It's an enormous ship, but they only have one. And the Kraken race is sort of all about trying to figure out how to take down the Sea Hags. That's not Kistrus. Kistrus kind of looked at Kraken culture and said, okay, so we're all on this suicide mission, and none of us really have any individuality anymore because we're all on this collective suicide mission. And he kind of laid down his weapons and armor and left. He wants to make a name for himself. He he wants to understand more things. He thinks humans are fascinating, and he just wants to. He's insatiably curious. He's actually really young for a Kraken, but any other non-Kraken probably wouldn't notice that. So, so he is aboard the ship. He can summon winds, which makes him very useful aboard a ship. And I've got a cat walking on me. Sorry about that. And, but yeah, that is Kistrus.
Nice. I'm just kind of wondering, what kind of pulled Kistrus toward the element of air, do you think?
That's a good question. I think he was fascinated with weather, and how the sky works. There's enough water out there, but it's the wind that actually moves things and takes things from place to place.
Yeah. Very cool. I love it. Mm-hmm. Okay, Anna, tell us about Maria.
So, Maria is a recently defected member from the Inquisition, like a couple centuries past some of the worst of the Inquisition's offenses in the New World and the Old. She has mostly been working in whatever the department name of it was, I can't think of it right now, but the ones that like investigated all the forbidden or like heretical books. That's kind of the whole reason why she got into this line of work in the first place, was because she really wanted to get an education and was not so keen on the whole like torturing people part, but figured that as long as they kept it out of sight, out of mind, she would be fine with just sort of adding to her own knowledge and broadening horizons of the world, because she was able to read all of these books that nobody else was able to read. So that being said, though, she has gotten perilously close a few times to coming under suspicion herself, also because of the kind of stuff that she's been doing, like scientific research and things like that into. And since in this world, the Inquisitors that are like the trusted agents that go out and find people in the field and like kidnap them and bring them back, get branded with this mark that is kind of like a psychological telepathic link between them and the leader of the whole thing. She was like, no, that doesn't sound like a great idea to me. I'd like to just take my forbidden knowledge and get the hell out of here. So she has joined up with the salvage ship crew. She hasn't really talked too much to them about her past. I mean, they would know because she's got a lot of like books and tomes and stuff with her, and she's got a spyglass for navigating and things like that, that she's educated and had that kind of thing, but still a little bit not sure exactly what the details of what she did before she joined this ship. But yeah, that is Maria.
All right. Yeah, cool. I'm actually curious, as you described Maria as kind of an inquisitor, but also sort of a something of a scientist.
Yeah.
What?
Like, you know how the Inquisition was like, Galileo, you're wrong, and she was like, but what if that was actually the right thing?
So, I mean, what areas of science is Maria most into, do you think?
I would probably guess geography. Like the longitude problem is a huge thing in this time period. Yeah. So like they're trying to figure out how to chart the oceans and chart the world. So I'd say like geography.
Excellent.
Kind of her thing.
Cool. All right. Good. Okay, we have a few more details now. So let me go ahead and see what's next on the agenda. So yeah, we want to sort of nail down. You mentioned salvage here. I just want to check with everyone here to make sure we sort of nail down what type of business this vessel does. Since since I don't think we came to a full consensus on it, so I just want to check with folks. It's the primary reason the crew is together, and so roughly most vessels that one sees in this setting is engaging in trading, which is legitimately shipping things from port to port for hire, smuggling, which is secretly shipping contraband from port to port for hire, piracy, which is attacking other vessels and taking their stuff. We have privateering, which is attacking pirate and smuggling vessels for hire and taking their stuff. There is salvage, which is finding the remains of lost, destroyed, and abandoned vessels and settlements and taking their stuff. And then there is whaling, which is, going up north and attacking magical ice whales and then taking their stuff. So I just wanted to check in and see if folks were... are we leaning towards salvage? What were we thinking, folks, for primary thing for this vessel?
I was leaning either towards salvage or piracy.
Yeah, I don't think Maria would be involved in any sort of legitimate enterprise, seeing as how she is trying to be on kind of the DL from the government. So having this manifest that's here's your real name and what you look like is just that's not why she wanted to join a ship crew. So something a little more under the radar for sure.
I think Marcel would probably be hired muscle, so any of those things are fine for me.
Cool.
So Marcel would have the and taking their stuff part of
yes.
to cover. Yeah. Every ship needs a navigator, so there you go.
It's really whatever these kids want to do. I just don't want to see them get too hurt while they're doing it. That means I have to do more work.
Maria's who are you calling a child? We're the same age.
I feel like it would be hysterical then if we went for piracy, but Alyssa, what do you think?
I mean, I'm open either way. I sort of set Perry up for salvage, but because that's kind of what Doreen's are good at. But sometimes in pirate battles, ships get sunk and you have to salvage them. So
that is true.
Out of curiosity, I'm looking at the list here, and I have to ask: whaling, attacking magical ice whales and taking their stuff. How much stuff do magical ice whales have?
Well, they're kind of like narwhals to an extent in terms of their size. So that would give you an idea as to how much stuff.
What kind of stuff do they have? I mean, do they
parts.
carry around?
Do they have magical ambergris? The history nut in me really wants to go whaling, but the person that hates killing animals in me is
no.
I mean, killing fantasy animals, obviously.
Have you ever played Dishonored? Because their whole society runs on whales.
If we attack magic whales, maybe we can turn this into a Spelljammer campaign.
Oh!
We weren't the only things that fell into Caribdus.
So note to self: create portal to the stars at end of campaign. Okay, good. You must ride the magical ice whales out through the portal and into space. Okay.
There it is.
There it is. It's solved. The whole thing. It's solved.
Now I'm sad I even brought this all up.
Yep. You did this.
Final scene
you did this
is
all
so
of us.
long.
You did this. Yeah, I think that basically they have my understanding is that they've got some sort of properties that are used as some semi-magical components. Basically just selling the parts pretty much. So I mean I'm assuming a lot of that's oil, basically is what that comes down to. But
meat.
Yeah.
Narwhal tusks.
Nope, it's like a dragon. It's probably got a horde. They're magic. They have stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
narwhals bags of gold.
They might, they might. We've not really explored that much about it.
Look,
But it's
what we don't know is that they have a very sophisticated capitalist system amongst themselves.
They're whales, yeah, absolutely.
Oh God, are we becoming a whaling ship just like that?
Not necessarily.
No.
I just have
No.
but I have thoughts in the back of my head that I now want to
No.
create just this secret whale society that no one actually knows about because they don't speak the language, and actually they've got these hidden caves where they have this hysterically advanced society with like electricity and things under the water.
Why have such a complex language if you're not doing day trading?
It's fair. It's fair. But yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. One thing though I will say is that apparently they do have this magical property that they can freeze things. I think it's, if I remember correctly, I think it's from their from the the tusk or whatever, so it's possible. That's part of what they harvest. But yeah, look, I'm looking at it as mostly it's like they use everything.
How we make refrigerators, y'all.
Yeah, that's fair. But I feel as though we're kind of leaning mostly towards salvage. That's the way it sort of sounds to me, like that's kind of what we're looking at. Perhaps some of the crew have been thinking about piracy, but we don't know if that's actually happened or not. It's just, every time you spot a lone dinghy out there, it's just like, Who knows? But let's see. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do character connections. And so we're going to connect your characters together now at this point. So the way this works is that you'll each have one relationship connection to throw at another character, basically, and attach to that other character. I am giving you a hoop. You put that hoop over another player, basically, is how this works. You choose one other character with whom you've not yet established a relationship or with whom you have a relationship you want to know more about, and you describe how you know them. And then we will draw a card to kind of deepen that, and we'll sort of see where that goes. If we feel we need more detail. Sometimes we don't, but we'll see. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and go around as we have been. So I'll start with Alyssa. Who do you want to? With whom would you like to establish a relationship?
I feel like Perry would feel sort of like a kinship with Kistrus, being as there's not very many of either of their peoples. They're sort of a little bit on their own, finding their own way, and since Perry has seen a little bit more of the world than Kistrus, there's maybe kind of a mentorship type of a thing.
Okay. So how do you think you know each other? Just from working aboard ship, or is there something else you wanted to throw into this?
That's a good question.
Do you think maybe one of us got the other one the job aboard the ship?
Maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, Kistrus is fairly young, as you sort of described them. So I think it might have been Perry that had gotten Kistrus the job, possibly. I wonder what you saw in them, possibly. Actually, do we want to go ahead and draw a card, just sort of to see what it might be? Or to get a prompt for it, rather? Let me go ahead and actually open up the file that has the information in it that I am looking for, so that I don't just draw a card and stare at it for 10 minutes.
You are somehow linked by the two of clubs.
That's right. It's a two of clubs type relationship.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Let's see. Savage Worlds character relationships. Mark II. Here we go. This system that I'm using is actually a variant on the interlude system that Savage Worlds uses. It's usually like you draw a card while you're around the campfire and you tell a story about this thing. This is more of a shared connection story rather than anything else. So I shall draw a card. I shall place it in the center of the Flotsam Sea. And we have the Four of Hearts. So hearts, in this case, means that you and the other PC have a friend, family member, or someone else close to you both in common. The two of you might even be related or otherwise have a deep or long history with each other. Who do you both know, and what relationship do you each have with that person, and therefore and to an extent with each other? So there's someone the two of you are at least very fond of in some fashion.
Any ideas?
You can also say the two of you might have known each other through this person, possibly.
I keep feeling like there's this old, weathered, non-human somewhere in a port that, like, he's the kind of guy that just, like, babbles on and on and on about his days on the sea. And we both kind of look at him in a very either avuncular or grandfatherly way.
Works for me.
So an avuncular old sea dog.
Mm-hmm.
That old human sea dog. Okay. You get to name this person and figure out kind of how they are important to you. So it's basically that. It's interesting. Is this someone who is still working, or is this someone who has just basically is broken down into spending what retirement they have in the taverns, or what do you think?
I have an idea for a name.
Okay.
Mad Maps. A retired cartographer.
Mad Maps. Okay. Cool. So this is someone who might have done cartography and had done really well, and then just basically kind of ended up here. And it's like, for as long as however they've been here, it would have arrived sometime within the last 13 years, and just basically like had to just sort of deal. And I think I'm wondering how did they adapt to mapping out Caribdus, do you think?
I think maybe that's the reason that I think that maps might have connections to a lot of different people, and he kind of just like sends them out to do the mapping for him.
I like it. All right, no, that's cool. That works for me. And the two of you just happened to get along really well with this person.
He tells crazy old stories.
It's always good. Okay. So I'm going to head now over to Jenn. Who do you want to toss a connection at?
Let's go with Oh dear. Dr. Elijah.
Okay. So, how do the two of you know each other, do you think?
He patched me up after I get into fights and stuff.
She's just always in the clinic. Always just,
Yep.
A stab wound here, a gunshot wound there.
Get into bar fights, the usual.
Standard. Pretty standard fare. Cool. Yeah, so I guess it's a thing where it's like you were all operating you ended up just in the same port a lot wherever Elijah was at the time, and just kept happening. Cool. I'll go ahead and I'll draw a card and we'll see kind of what more we can find out. I have drawn another heart. This is the King of Hearts. So there is someone else that the two of you have in common. That, again, it could be a friend or a family member or just someone else close to you both. So who do you both know? What?
Is there like a human welcoming committee when you come into this world?
Oh, there can be now, certainly.
They're just like, here's your what do you call it? Introduction. They give you like a welcome guide.
Welcome to Caribdus. Here's your pamphlet. I think it's probably going to be So like things not unlike embassies, right? That they'll find a lot of them probably fronted mostly by. So it could be. So I can see it going one of two ways, right? It could be something tied to one of the governments, one of the people trying to reestablish governments here, if it's done by humans. It could be a religious organization, again, if it's done by humans. It could be like a goodwill organization that is put together by, say, by the Masquani, possibly, since they were the most populous on this world prior to everything happening, and so they still have kingdoms here, or a kingdom that remains. So I mean, it could be. Do we think this is tied to one of the specific quote unquote governments that is set up, or do we think it's an independent sort of deal?
Well, I mean, Jenn, your character is kind of a mercenary. I mean, there are some trading companies that definitely, have looked for muscle, here and there, and them hiring some kind of a doctor is not out of the question either.
So just like a representative from a trading company?
Yeah, we could have been on the same boats together, maybe, or the same,
okay.
or even just you were in the same on the same mission / trade route as I was stationed, or trading post.
Okay. Yeah, that like an admin person.
Yeah, some kind of admin or some kind of handler, some person who's you go here and if you get stabbed out in the field, this is the doc, that kind of deal.
Nice. No, that's cool. So again, you folks get to name this person if you like, and just basically if you want to provide me details about them, that's totally fine. But that sounds cool. It's sort of that basically you had this person that you happen to get along well with, who either with one of the trading companies or like a mercenary operation or something, who just basically was able to put the two of you together enough that it became a frequent thing. So that works for me.
I don't have a name yet, but I mean, I'm imagining someone who might have come from even earlier on than either one of us, and they just have a lot of questions, you know, about like, if you're from here and you're both human, you're from here, like, you know, like, tell me about this, tell me about that, tell me about this.
Yeah.
You know?
Very
Can
cool.
Can it be like an old lady, like Margaret?
Absolutely. I love it.
Okay, cool.
Excellent. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Okay. Now, well, let's head down to let's head over to Ernest for Elijah. Who do you want to throw a connection at?
I guess. Let's see here. I guess Maria. You know.
Okay.
That's funny. I was gonna throw one at you.
Ha
I was like, us elderly humans gotta stick together in this cold, cruel world.
How do you think the two of you know each other?
You know, Dr. Stone definitely enjoys you know, learning new things. You know, I mean, that was sort of his passion being here. He had to learn how to be a surgeon in this new world, and coming across another scholar is you know, not unlikely. You know.
So shared scholarly pursuits.
Yeah.
Nice. Excellent. Okay, let me go ahead and I shall pull yet another card. Oh, I got the Joker. Okay. So what that means in this context, it's a weird connection as well. You and the other PC encountered a strange coincidence or circumstance, perhaps through the intervention of someone or something powerful, supernatural, or alien in nature, maybe. What was it you encountered, and how did you both deal with it?
That could be kind of interesting if we tied it back to your whole tenure during the American Revolution. Like, what if there was something that happened during that time?
Yeah.
That we couldn't explain.
Yeah. I'll let you walk with this. This sounds pretty good. So something strange and
yeah. What will we find unexplainable? Ooh, okay. So I'm not sure. Can things go from Caribdus to our like regular human world, or is it only like a one-way portal?
So thus far, the only thing that is known, it's as far as people are aware, it's a one-way portal.
Okay.
The only thing that we know that they see while still on Earth is the Maiden, who appears in the storms. That they're irrevocably drawn toward. That doesn't mean it can't necessarily happen. We can say that maybe something weird happened, or that there was some weird thing that was being noticed even while on Earth, because we can do whatever we want. Yeah, so as far as the setting goes, they haven't specified.
It could be really cool if like we somehow had like in younger years like an inkling that maybe there was like a rift opening to a world beyond the one that we lived in, but it wasn't until later that we actually like traveled there by going through the portal or something. I don't know how that would present in the system.
I have an idea.
But yeah, go for it.
What if at some point, and this could be a thing that happened in both of your lives, that at some point before, getting on the boat that took you to Caribdus, at some point you both actually saw the Maiden in a different context. It's like she sort of appeared.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then it's
That's
when
creepy,
and then when it happened, you recognized her from when you'd seen her before.
Yeah, I like that.
Interesting. So just so that I have I have it down also in my brain. So Elijah is from the time of roughly American Revolution. Did you say? Is that right? Yes. Okay. And obviously, I'm assuming Maria was part of the good old Inquisition what was going on Earth.
Like Galileo era Inquisition,
Galileo
not
era.
like the Reconquista Inquisition.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to play this character, but I also didn't want to be like, real life torturer.
Which is that's the thing that probably is kind of nuts, because you are you being from the the late 1500s, early 1600s, roughly, and then you get to Caribdus and you find out Torquemada's in charge.
Right.
And it's like, how did this happen? That bastard died over a century ago.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's very interesting. That is. So cool. Okay. I just want to make sure that I've also noted down that. Come on, there it goes. Okay. Galileo era. Okay. All right. Cool. So I like that. I like that a lot. And it's just sort of a mystery as to why it happened and in what context. We can come up with more details as we go. Just sort of in between, sort of during what context? Why did she show up? Why are you the only two people that have seen the maiden before it happens? That kind of deal. I think it'll be interesting to explore. But for right now, I'm going to move on to James. Who do you want to, for Kistras, who do you want to toss a connection at? You are muted.
I'm considering also going towards Maria because they seem really learned and they can tell me. I will pester them endlessly with questions about everything, especially about humans.
I think Maria would have the exact same curiosity, but with Krakens. So I took a very languages-oriented build because I'm like a heretical books person. So yeah, I think she'd be very much like, this just explodes the notion of heresy and orthodoxy wide open because there are people with tentacles on their faces.
That's fair. It's like, well. Oh, nice. Okay. No, that makes sense, that you kind of just sort of have this, again, just sort of a mutual interest in just like, please tell me about your people.
Yeah.
So we've got spades here. So victory! You and the other PC fought and defeated the same foe or obstacle together. Who or what did you overcome and why? Now, this doesn't have to be a literal fight. It can be. What do you think? What do you think happened?
I would pitch that it actually came down to some sort of like, when we were doing salvage somewhere, we ran across some type of like puzzle or riddle or something like that had kept some underwater door closed for like decades or centuries, and between the two of us we kind of figured out, oh, this means that and this means that, and you have to pull this and do that, and sacrifice a chicken and
ask your buddy what's the Elvish word for friend.
Right. And then we had to do the 6-month journey to find a chicken, and
yep.
and then we got the door open.
I love it. I think that's great. I feel like the two of us are characters that would do that just to find out what was on the other side.
Yes.
Like, not even like, oh, there's treasure there or something. We'd just be like, we cannot rest until we solve this mystery.
Yes.
Yeah, I dig it.
Awesome. Excellent. Any idea what was beyond that portal and what it portended?
Part of me like wants to say that there wasn't anything back there.
Yeah.
But we were like super hyped over the fact that yes, we opened it, and like the rest of the crew is like, we just spent 3 weeks here when we could have been actually getting salvaged.
With something totally useless.
Well, yeah. Let me suggest that you found a seemingly perfectly mundane, very old item that you can't sell anywhere. No one seems to want it. But that's like the only thing you really found that was left in that place.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let me know sometime between now and next week what that item is.
Ooh, what if it was like a really weird clock that just doesn't work ever? Like, it's got so many mechanical problems with it, and like, why would you even design something that way? And it doesn't chime, it doesn't tell time. It's like a weird artifact.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I like it a lot.
It's like this little clockwork clock that, like, as a clock, absolutely doesn't work. But anyone who, like, would look at the interior of it goes, either the person who designed this was an idiot, or this is supposed to do something else.
We think it's like the next step in the puzzle. So what if everybody else is just like, oh, you found this worthless piece of trash, and we're just like, it's the next clue.
This means something.
I love it.
It's like an ancient Musqueam timepiece or something.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So I'm picturing kind of like an Antikythera device, but then again, I'm always picturing an Antikythera device, no matter what it is. So
even when you're not gaming, I mean, like,
we
can talk about it later.
We can talk about it later. It's not really relevant right now. Just these things happen sometimes. Sometimes you just you play Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis one too many times, and things happen to you. But let us move on to Anna for Maria. Who would you like to lob a connection at?
I think. Let's see. I think I'd like to lob a connection at Marcel, because Marcel is like further along in the future of our timeline. And I feel like I'm fascinated I feel like Maria would be really interested in all of the political changes that happened between the early 17th century and then like late 18th, early 19th Haitian Revolution time period. And it would just be like, voting? What? Like, just things like that. I think that she would just be like, please tell me what it is like in the future, because I need to know.
God.
Do they figure out that the world is round, or do we suppress that successfully? Like,
I'm not sure. Like, me, the human person, I'm just like, did we know that the world was round at that time?
I feel like it was
They
knew that. I mean, they even knew it in the 17th century, but it was kind of like, oh yeah, the world's flat officially, but they knew it wasn't because they navigated as though it were round.
Yeah. It had a lot to do, especially in Galileo's time, about the position of the Earth.
Yeah, like Helios.
And the idea that it moved. The Earth, the idea that the Earth moved rather than the sun, because they kind of thought it was the other way around. And it was these little stars that Galileo was able to say, no, these have the way these look differently in the sky right now. We're the ones that are moving, and they didn't like that. There's a whole play written by Bertolt Brecht about it, but I digress. Anyway, no, that's very cool. I like that. So basically, there's an interest on Maria's part in pestering Marcel about changes in history. How does Marcel feel about that?
Marcel doesn't care. Marcel's just like, I'm a fighter. like I've heard about books and stuff, but it's not really my bag. But she does her best to answer, but it wasn't. She was not a book learned person.
Nice. Nice. And so that it makes a very excellent sort of odd couple situation, basically. I'm going to go ahead and draw a card here. And that is the Ace of Diamonds. Diamonds. So that is some object of desire. In the past, you and the other PC have both pursued a common goal, quest, item, or interest. What were you doing, and how did you help each other?
I don't know why, but my immediate thought was, well, maybe it was democracy. No, that wouldn't make sense, though. Maria's pretty much a royalist at heart, but it would be funny if it was like, what do we have in common? Democracy. Yeah.
The MacGuffin in this the MacGuffin in this mini campaign will be democracy. That's what they'll find on that mysterious island.
The real
Is
treasure
Maria-
was the democracy we made along the way.
Is Maria religious?
Yes.
Like Christian?
Yeah. She's kind of like, you know, with the whole Inquisition thing, she'll like go do what is officially required, but privately is very much live and let live. Even though she's not like, I don't know where my train of thought was going there. I literally just lost what I was gonna say.
I was gonna say, like Haitian voodoo, a lot of the gods have analogs to Christian gods or saints.
Oh yeah, okay.
So like maybe we have the same patron saint or something like that.
It's a good idea. That's a good idea. Did you have a particular one in mind?
I have one in mind, but I don't know what the Christian analog is. Hold on.
Ooh, nice. So it's something that's a connection between, there's sort of a connection between you because you have sort of the same kind of, turns out to be the same sort of patron saint from different perspectives.
Yeah, like we would definitely have a shared spiritual kind of thing, especially with like Maria being Spanish and then, you know, Haiti having like the French sort of Royal Catholics influence thing there. There'd be some overlap, even though they're from 150 years apart or something. Yeah, whatever the math is on that.
So the voodoo Loa is Papa Legba, and he is usually associated with Saint Peter, Saint Lazarus, and Saint Anthony. So
that'll be interesting because Peter's being the leader, and then Lazarus obviously raised from the dead, and Saint Anthony's really good at finding things. So that's like the 4 Hogwarts houses. Funny.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's perhaps if there's a connection between, like, for the two of you, between Saint Anthony and Papa Legba, for example.
Yeah.
Then there is perhaps a calling to find something.
I guess maybe for Maria that would work with the whole like longitude project, right? Because they're trying to find their way around the world. Finding abstract stuff counts.
I'm feeling like there is a mapping kind of theme here.
Yes.
Because it's there is sort of finding some sort of common crossroads. So there might be like it might be that you both are kind of looking for something that's considered on this world both a literal passage and a figurative passage. that we can develop that as time goes
like
on,
that.
as we get over the week. But yeah, there's like some kind of sort of I think a searching for a passage thing. That's going on here. Cool. Okay. So I will just need someone to throw a relation. If anyone would like to go again, you may throw a connection at Perry, who is the only one at whom a connection has not been thrown. Who would like to who would like to do a connection with Perry?
Are we supposed to each have 2 or?
Well, it'll come out kind of that way. It's
Okay,
everyone
cool.
kind of does except for Perry.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So, how do Elijah and Perry? How are they connected? Do you think?
I think that maybe Perry might have been the first Doreen to actually like answer any of my questions or maybe talk to me about something because, the Doreen are around and they do a lot of scavenging and a lot of here and there and zipping back and forth. But from reading the setting document, they are they're not always the most friendly.
Alyssa? Does that sound good?
That makes sense to me.
Cool. So if you don't mind terribly, I'll go ahead and draw one more card here, so we can see further. That too is diamonds. So again, says there was some desire in the past. You and the other PC have both pursued a common goal, quest, item, or interest. You were looking for something. What were the two of you doing, and how did you help each other? Was it a treasure hunt, or was it something else, or was it a... What did you both want?
Maybe I was looking for some medicine, and you knew a downed ship, where I could get my hands on it.
Yeah, that works.
Awesome. Cool. I love it. Excellent. Note to self, look for epidemics.
Like all yellow fever all the time.
Yeah. The yellow fever party line starts here and proceeds to... No. Excellent. Okay. I think then, now that we've got the relationships together, what I'd like to do is take a break. We'll break for like 10-ish minutes or so, whilst we play an interview, and then we will come back and continue asking questions. So we will see you all in a little bit. Greetings, folks. Welcome to the break. I have Dylan here, Anarasis, to chat about various things that he's got going on. Hello.
Hi. It's been so long.
It's been so long. I know. It's like it's not as though we've been recording these in sequence. No. That's we couldn't possibly. That would be wrong.
Don't break the illusion. Jim.
Oh crap! Oh God! No. We are totally, absolutely in two boxes hovering over a neon landscape right now.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's how it works. But actually, the thing I want to talk about with you right now, is the games that you have been producing and working on, various types of gamery and what have you. You have a few titles that I'm aware of. I'm aware of Spoken Magic. I'm aware of Become. Tell us, how did you get into the design of games, and tell us a little bit about those games.
I got into game design the same way I think a lot of tabletop game designers did, which is that I was playing Dungeons and Dragons and found it really lacking in some important areas for the kind of game that I wanted to play. but also I couldn't convince my players to play anything else. So I got into into game design by hacking D&D, by making new classes, new races, new mechanics, that sort of stuff. And then somewhere around, I want to say back when I was like 16, I had an idea for an original game, like an original RPG system, and I started working on it with some friends, which quickly turned into just me working on it by myself. And I worked on that game for like 5 years or so until finally I realized like I had wrapped up so much emotion in this game, and I wanted so badly for it to be good. But you know, the first thing that you do in a field is never good. Like, really, it's always going to have problems with it. And so I knew that if I wanted to make this game, like make my baby, I had to put it away and work on some other stuff. And that's how Become started. It was my first project after putting that to the side. I was listening to I remember I was at the grocery store listening to Adam Coble has a show that he does called what is it? Heck, he has a GM and game design advice show.
Okay.
Office Hours. There we go. Where, you know, people send in questions and he answers them. And someone had asked, like, you know, what is it with mind control abilities that in D&D that people don't like? And he had a lot of really insightful things to say that I will not try to repeat. But in essence, like the thesis that I got from it is loss of agency sucks because character creation is hard. And people put in a lot of investment, like a lot of personal investment into their characters. So that moment of I have lost control and something bad could happen to my character that I care about because of that is like creates some really, really visceral emotions for people. And I was walking down, I think the like snacks aisle of a Safeway. And I had this thought of like, well, what if your character didn't die when it died? Like, what if death wasn't an option? Then would loss of agency be less bad? Like, can we play if we cordon off mortality? Can we play in this region of agency? And that bursts this whole game of being a program and a machine.
Cool. Well, for folks who aren't familiar, could you tell us a little bit about what Become is about?
Yeah, so I touched on it a little bit. That was the mechanical kernel that got me to start chewing. But really, Become is setting wise, it's a tech noir investigation game. So if you think about sort of the setting of Tron, where you have like AI who are personified as characters that exist within a fully simulated environment, but then you just smash that together with the Maltese Falcon with this like noir, you know, Art Deco, investigative tone. That's the setting for Become. But ultimately, while you explore mysteries and go through this digital environment and investigate other programs, really the mystery at the center of it and the investigation at the core of any game of Become is one of self-discovery. As you know, these AI start from a place where like a person wrote them and was like, this is who you are. But as you play, and more importantly, as you fail, you slowly begin to build your own principles, your own desires that shape who you are.
Very cool, and I mean that's also excellent that you're making failure a key part of it, because that's always something that, especially in modern games, that you hear needs to be a thing is failure must be interesting. And if it contributes to your character's growth, I think that's all the more so. So that is awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Spoken Magic.
Spoken Magic is secretly another game about self-discovery. So all of my games, I write with the exception of a few that are just like, I wrote this to be silly. Like I wrote a nap LARP that fits inside of a single tweet that I'm still pretty proud of, but that was just like me being silly. But all the games that I really sit down and take time to write out are made to like teach a thing, to get players to interact with an idea and get a better understanding of it. So while Become was sort of the formation of identity, Spoken Magic is a game where you go on a journey and you collaborate with the other players at the table to solve problems with magic. And then once you reach the end of your journey, you come back and you reflect on how that journey has changed you. But sort of the really small elevator pitch I like for Spoken Magic is it's The Hobbit, but everybody plays Gandalf. But but really, what's happening is at the beginning of the game tells you who you are, and then you play through and have these experiences with the other people at the table. And at the very end, the game asks you to define who you are, because I think so often that's what happens to people in real life is, you know, you are born and raised in a specific set of circumstances, and people will tell you who you are because of those circumstances. But it's our experiences and the moments that we share with other people around us that really shape that. And when you go long enough and exist in that space for long enough, eventually you get to decide who you are. And Spoken Magic really is a game about trying to experience that with other people.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's I think it's very cool that you're putting out games that let people sort of play in that realm, because that's it's kind of critical to the human condition, I would think. So
yeah, I'd like to think that I'm saying something useful with these games, but that's ultimately not for me to decide.
Very cool, though. Very cool. Do you have anything else going on game-wise that you'd want to mention?
Yeah, so the way that I design games is a little weird. I have a running document of probably 20 or so games that I'm working on, but I have one that I'm actively writing right now, and by the time anyone sees this, I suspect I will have the fully playtestable version of it out. It's a game called Letting Go, which is it's a loose hack of a game by my friend Summer called Knowing You, which is Knowing You is a question and answer storytelling game that has a really interesting format, but explores the end of a relationship through, like, you start at the end of the relationship and work your way backward. And with Letting Go, I wanted to take that same idea of having a game that exists purely in the space of somebody asking questions and someone answering them. But specifically, Letting Go is a game in which you explore someone's grief. You explore the grief of two people separating for whatever reason, whether it be moving apart, a breakup, a death, anything like that. And really diving into one player's grief, and figuring out what it looks like, but also getting to, hear those things that we never really get to hear in those situations, the responses, the things that the other person would want to say, and give players a moment, whether it's their coming up with characters for the game, or whether they had an NPC that they really cared about die in a campaign, or something like that they want to explore. Really getting an opportunity to have those conversations that in real life we never get to have.
That is very cool. That is really cool. Well, I very much look forward to seeing when that comes out. In the meantime, if folks want to find any of these games online, where should they go?
Become, as of recording, Become is not available publicly, but if you are interested in it, I can tell you without revealing too much that you should be following the Twitter at HeartHeldGames, which is the official Twitter for my games publishing label, which Become is being published under. Spoken Magic is available on my itch.io, which is ANARISIS .itch.io or .itch.io. And Letting Go will be up on itch eventually, but the first playtest version will be available for free on my Patreon, which is also an RSS, which is where all of my playtest notes for new games, but also I do a bunch of like homebrew stuff that goes up there every month. So yeah, that's where you can find those things.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, go forth and seek those things out, or wait upon their release, and I think you shall not be disappointed. Thank you very much for coming and chatting with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for asking to have me on and to have me talk about my games. It's nice. It's fun.
They deserve it. They absolutely do. Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and throw things back over to probably myself or to the moving break screen, whatever it is that I've got going on right now, as we're dashing around crazily in the background. But in the meantime, we will see you later. welcome back, everyone, to 50 Fathoms worth of scurvy. As we've been having a delightful conversation about scurvy and how it works. And now we're going to dive back in here and get to knock out some more of these questions, so we can kind of see a little bit more about the setup for this whole thing. So the next thing is I'd like to get a few details about the ship and I'm going to kind of smash questions 4 and 5 together a little bit here for time purposes. I kind of want to sort of talk about what kind of ship this is, and what sort of other, what other crewmates you have aboard. And we don't necessarily have to name everybody, but so what kind of... Obviously, this is a ship that does primarily salvage. A lot of salvage businesses, I'm thinking, are kind of the smaller variety, more independent type deal. But I mean, it can be. There are governments that do salvage too, or there, galleons can go out and do salvage if they really want to participate in that. They're probably more of a getting the salvage from point A to point B type deal, but it happens. I had in my head that maybe this was like a ship that with a crew of, like, including yourselves, somewhere between 10 and 20. But what do you folks think? What would you like? What type of voyage would you like to have?
I think 15, 20 people aboard, including us, is just fine.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. If we're good with that, are there any cool little details we'd like to throw in here about? And it can be, so I'd like us each to come up with. I'd like each of you to come up with just one detail about the ship, and it can be a crew member or it can be something about the ship itself that might be of interest to us narratively. So. Details can be big, they can be small. It can be part of a history, it can be part of how something looks. Or it can be, our captain is X, or something. Or, however it is you want to kind of deal with that.
So I'm thinking that on the ship I would want one overeager kid who's clearly too young to be out on the sea.
Yes.
but they're here. And they're probably good at something else, but it has nothing to do with what we do on the boat. But this is like the only opportunity they have to get away from whatever they're trying to get away from. And they're kind of like a narrative foil. They're really clumsy. They probably, are just like, a plot engine of some kind. Their name's something like Hensley or something. Something that's easy to just kind of like groan about. Like, ugh. Hensley again.
I love it.
Nice. Awesome. Perfect.
And we have a cat on the ship that is good at sensing when a storm is going to happen.
Ooh.
Excellent. I love it. Cool. We must also name the cat sometime soon, but I shall note that. That basically it's like the cat sort of stretches and like sort of looks around and scatters below deck, and you're like, oh crap, storm coming.
Character will call him that damn cat.
That
damn cat.
That could be the cat's name.
Is it TDG for short?
TDG
for short.
Or TDC?
Gato.
I think that we are almost definitely not the first crew on the ship, and there are like rumors of some curse or haunting or something like that did in the former crew.
Very nice.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Oh.
Our captain is a Masaklani woman named Moya MacIver.
I think that we have a ship figurehead that is just this very old and Baroque contraption. Nobody is quite sure who first started working on it, but it's basically this like weird sculpture that's been assembled of like random strange but useless things that we found in salvage. So if we find something that we can't sell or repurpose or whatever, it just becomes part of the figurehead of the ship, and it's just been, people have been building on that since before any of us knew about it.
Is the clock you found part of it?
That's a good question.
Do we want to give up the clock for the ship?
I don't think we want to. I think like someone suggested putting the clock there, and both of us were like, no. We don't know what it does yet.
We're pulling a Bilbo Baggins with this clock. It's mine! Why shouldn't I keep it?
we found it after all.
That's too good.
Squid has power object fixation.
Sometimes that happens. So I see Anino is suggesting that we put Detective Clyde Ho as a character on here. We'll have to see. Perhaps there's a Clyde on here on the ship. Perhaps.
Doesn't he own a shirt? Why doesn't he own a shirt?
We're sure he must own a shirt. I'm sure someone said once they saw him wearing it.
Actually, an ancient ancestor of Matthew McConaughey.
It's possible. This was Clyde Ho, was a character in our Bad Streets campaign, which was a 70s cop show, basically.
Oh, and, my.
It's from Hawaii, this character was. And apparently it's the 1-year anniversary of his appearance on the channel. I didn't realize that. It's been that long. Oh, my God.
The legend lives on.
It was something, I gotta say.
Yes, Clyde looked like The Rock with a pompadour.
Amazing.
Oh man.
Well,
that's a thought. So I like this. So we've got some good details to play on here. That I think we can help. We'll also need to name the ship something reasonable. So that is a thing we don't have to come up with a name right now. We can do that in downtime and sort of throw things out. But
the ship is just called the Reasonable.
The Reasonable, yes, that's it.
Call it something reasonable.
They're out of really cool.
I'm partially joking, partially serious about this.
Like they're out of the. So someone wanted to name it like the Indomitable, and then they just sort of knocked it down to the Persistent until finally they just came out with the Reasonable.
Indomitable was the next.
We'll have
a cool ship name. Be reasonable, lad. Find the reasonable.
I really like it. That seems like It seems like the Age of Sail equivalent of Bodie McBoatface, and I'm here for it. Like.
So I will. I'll tell you what. I will look in a couple of other languages and see what the translation for reasonable is, and then we'll see if it's something that sound. We'll see how that sounds.
Sounds cool.
If it sounds cool. Okay, cool. I think we've got some decent details there. Unless anyone else has anything they want to throw out about the ship, I think we can move on a little bit. So knowing what we've learned thus far of 50 Fathoms, for folks who, and if you haven't read the thing, that's cool. It doesn't matter. You can still participate here. But I'd like each of you to tell me one thing you're hoping to see in the campaign. It can be something very general, or if you've read into the lore of the setting, it can be a particular type of creature, a particular group of NPCs, particular island, something else about Caribdus. What what thing are you looking forward to that to perhaps exploring if we can get to it? And we can go in any order. Anyone who has an idea, a thought, just anything, any one thing.
I'd like to see some heroic swashbuckling. Saving the downtrodden or punching the officious noble in the eye, either metaphorically or actually. Something very, very heroic and daring-do filled.
Awesome. So want to see a bit of Errol Flynn? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a crab person yell at Kistris.
I think that can be arranged.
I was also going to vote for the crab people. I was like, they are too cool to not be in this game. I'd like to have some weird encounters with magical things. I like the weird.
Weird encounters with magical things. I think I can do that.
I know that's kind of vague, but it's what I want.
Oh no, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Cool.
Are sea monsters a thing? Like,
They are
is a lock?
totally a thing.
Okay, so like the it's equivalent of like the Loch Ness monster or something.
Absolutely. Cool. Let's see. Alyssa, did you say anything yet?
I did not yet.
What do you want? What is your desire?
If Perry has to pick a lock on a sunken chest at some point.
Awesome. Cool. All right. I have noted these things down. So for anyone who has, so where exactly this is going to be taking place in Thousand Islands is something we're I'm going to kind of figure out based on the details we have here, or we're going to have. We know that at some point you're going to be visiting a mysterious island. I've decided that's a thing that's going to happen. So we don't know much about the island yet, but each of your characters knows a thing, has heard one thing about this island, which may or may not be true, some rumor or other. And so I would like each of you to tell me what that rumor is that you have heard. And again, we can go in any order as the muse strikes you.
This island might possibly have the way to go back to Earth.
Let me go ahead and note a thing down here. Yes, interesting. All right. My Excel is going crazy. Okay, there we go.
I think Maria might have put together from some different written accounts and maps and things like that many people have like circumnavigated and gone onto this island to chart it and map it, but they have all left with conflicting accounts of the shape and size and interior, the climate of the island, and they are each insisting, no, I'm the one that was right about what I saw there. You're obviously faking it to the other people.
Interesting. Cool.
Fire-breathing sea lions.
Fire-breathing sea lions.
I'm just trying to imagine the noise that would make, which is what made me laugh. Thinking of like a barking sea lion, just exactly.
At least you always know when the fire spurt's about to happen.
That's true.
I mean, fair.
The sands on the shore make the best glass.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just got I had to check so a message just came in real quick while I was looking. I had to check to make sure everything was okay. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, please?
Sure. The sands on the shore make the best glass.
Ooh. I like that idea.
They say the island actually moves.
Oh.
Ego, the living island.
I am so tempted right now. I am so tempted.
This stream began with Avatar The Last Airbender. It has continued into full-on Avatar The Last Airbender creature territory.
Yep.
I have such a... There's a thing that came up in the Deep Forest the other day, the game of the Deep Forest that we played on Sunday, that I am now very tempted to try and do here, but we'll see. We'll see if I manage to resist the temptation, or if there's an Aspidoculon. We'll see. We'll find out what this is. We'll go from there. But it's an interesting idea, certainly. I have so many thoughts now, and they're all terrible. Cool. I love this. This is excellent. It's funny. It's they're joking right now that the sea lions are the ones who make the glass, but that if they breathe fire, that makes sense. So
I mean, there are like sea lion people, so
yeah.
That's
So I mean,
true.
far-fetched.
it isn't really. There's something here, and I'm having thoughts, and those thoughts might involve also the magical ice whales of which we spoke earlier. But we'll see.
That was like the thought of all the cartographers trying to map this place. There's something here, and I'm having thoughts. But what I'm thinking is not what everyone else is thinking about.
Exactly. So we shall see. So the last one is a very personal question for each of your characters, which in part we kind of have touched on somewhat, a little bit in your descriptions, but I want to delve deeper, if we may, just a bit. And I want to kind of get into what each of your characters wants or is seeking. So you're at sea because you're hoping either to find something or perhaps to forget something. To or get away from something. And whichever of those things it is that you're fixated on or trying very hard not to be fixated on, what is that thing? And again, you can go in any order you like. And if it touches on something you've told us already, give me one more detail about that at least. Let's dig deeply. Let's delve greedily into our character information here and see what we find.
Harry is hoping to find the surviving members of their pod.
Ooh. Nice. Okay. Mm-hmm. Muted, sir.
I think Elijah is trying to find more wonder in the world. He came from a pretty brutal era and a pretty brutal place, and this place, while different, seems to be just as or more brutal in certain ways. And he's on in years, and he could just sit down and do nothing. But he's kind of in that set of being driven by duty and almost automation. Just like I am a surgeon, therefore I do this thing with my hands, and I don't really know what I would do if I was idle. But he certainly is going to die here. But what wonders does this world have? Because he certainly didn't have time to find the wonders of the world he left behind.
Cool. Yeah, you want to see the world's wonders before you go. Excellent. It's also rather hits home in ways that I can't even begin to describe, but that's just me. Anyway, cool, awesome. So that's there.
I think Maria is always looking for like the next puzzle, the next question that like nobody else has answered yet, but she wants to figure out like how things work, where things are, what they mean. And I think that like to add on to the backstory element of it, she doesn't want anything to get in the way of solving that, whether that's like her job doing the Inquisition, and like for her being a salvager is just a means to an end. Like she's not inherently tied to, I just love finding old trash in the ocean. She wants to use that as like a springboard to solve mysteries and investigate the unknown.
Excellent.
I think Marcel's motivation is, so she ran away because didn't want to like become a politician, but I think in their time of being here, they kind of regret that. Like they feel like they turned their back on their country. And since there's not really any known way to go back, I think she's trying to make up for it, in a way. So, like, she's currently a mercenary, but maybe trying to do more heroic stuff.
Excellent.
Oddly, Kistris also wants to be a big damn hero, but it's not because of any sense of guilt or anything like that. It's just because he's young and he's out in the world for the first time, and he has this weird idealism that none of his race seem to have. There's this underlying feeling when I read about the Kraken that there's like this grimness to them, this aloof grimness, and Kistris wants to be the exact opposite of that. He wants to be a big hero. He wants to carouse. He wants to do exciting, adventurous things. He wants to boldly go.
That's important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So I've got these things here. There is one more thing I just want to circle back and check on. Because I want to make sure we've got it kind of defined here. And that is what everyone's positions are on the ship. What they do. And I mean, it can be fine if you're just basically, if you're not involved in the command structure, that's fine. But if you want to be involved in the command structure, this is the time to tell me. So I am going to make the strange assumption that Elijah is the ship's surgeon. Would that be fair to say?
Maybe.
But if not, you can let me know. It's fine. But what does everyone else do?
No. Perry's the ship's surgeon. Elijah's the crew's surgeon.
Ah, I see.
Point.
So Perry is the ship's repairs the ship.
It's a repairy job.
Yeah.
Kistris, well, first of all, when there's no wind or we need to go faster, he summons the wind.
Oh yeah. That's
but-
right. You're the ship's mage. Those exist.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much that.
I'm sorry again if I'm sort of cutting you off. If anyone wants to elaborate on their roles, feel free to do so.
Well, when majory is not needed, he's usually working in the rigging. He likes to be up high.
Elijah has nothing to do with the boat's actual, moving or rigging or anything like that. Like, the boat does what the boat does because the boat is doing it or other people are making it do. Elijah's really just that holds no mystery, no wonder, no anything. He'd rather not even look at our rope. Just I'll go to my cabin, I'll go to wherever I do my job, and maybe I'll look out at the water, maybe.
Excellent. Very good. Okay.
I think Maria would be, like I mentioned before, more of a navigator, cartographer type.
Cool.
Less of a person that decides where we're going to go and more how do we get there.
What about Marcel?
I think Marcel is probably just looking to what do you call it? Looking out for threats, and making sure people are in shape for a fight.
Yeah.
Maybe doing training or daily exercises or whatever.
Security.
Yeah.
Usual stuff. I'm looking at. Also, I've gone online, and what I'm probably going to do in the meantime is and we don't have to come up with this now, but in the interim, I'm gonna give a list of sort of positions on the ship, and if we want, we can fill in details about the people in those positions. So they're gonna probably be we've got a little information about the captain. But there's also probably be a first mate, like a quartermaster, a bosun, and a cook, that kind of thing. And again, it won't be a huge number, but it'll be a few other people. So it's possible. It's possible we can sort of fill in some details there that we may want. And we want. To know a little bit more about the crew, that kind of deal, and it's possible there actually is there is an engineer position, and it's possible that might be Perry actually that's filling the engineer position. So yeah, I'll go through and I'll look at them. Gunner, powder monkey, etc., these various things that they list here. And we'll see sort of what we have. All right. But I believe that has brought us to the end of our of all the basics here for session 0. So I think this is going to be very interesting. I'm very much looking forward to how this all goes. So very much looking forward to that. At this point, then, I think we're good to do our outros. I'm very excited to kind of get this whole thing going, and very keen to see what this crew does and how they do it. So we're gonna go ahead and go around and do our outros, and feel free to tell folks where they can find you and any thoughts you had about this session and anything you're looking forward to for this game. We're gonna go reverse order. So we will start with Anna.
Yes, my name is Anna. You can find me on Twitter at Emiria941. I'm always streaming various tabletop RPGs in various places, and that's where a lot of the updates and things tend to coalesce. I also have a YouTube channel where I make videos about books and board games, video games, TTRPGs, all of that good stuff. So if you like that, go ahead and check it out. Special plug for the month of July, since it is Disability Pride Month. I'm actually the co-creator of the first ever Disability Readathon, which is completely dedicated to reading books by and about people who are disabled. So if you want to follow us on social media, we're at Disability Readathon everywhere. We're giving away a bunch of books to celebrate this month. So if you like getting free books, check that out.
Very cool. Awesome. Excellent. And now over to James. Oh, wait a minute. Before we go to James, I apologize. Did you have any final thoughts on the session, or anything else?
Just that I'm really excited. I'm so excited. Yeah, I always like getting to build the world together, and so now that it's just starting to feel more real, I cannot wait to play next week.
Excellent. Now, James.
Hey, I'm James, Jimbeaux, last name Silverstein. You can find me on Twitter at Silver Productio, but I don't really do anything interesting there. If you want to read any of the books I've written, you can find them on Amazon. I believe Jim will be putting up links to those. I write 1940s and 50s noir detective stories in a world that has the undead walking around in it. Book 3 will be out by the end of the year, hopefully. Knock wood. As for the game, I'm really excited about this. I love high seas swashbuckler stuff, as may be obvious. And I think this crew is shaping up to be really something awesome. So yeah, that's me.
Excellent. Yay. Very cool. And now over to Ernest. Oh, muted. Sorry.
I keep doing that. So, hi everyone. I'm Ernest. You can find me on Twitter at HollowInvective. This is my first time streaming ever. So I guess I have to get out there and make some content. So my Twitch channel actually, is something you can look at. Maybe I'll start putting some stuff together and, putting together a thing for the Scratch Discord, which you should check out. My final thoughts for the game are, I really love Session Zeros. I think they're really important for world building and character cohesion, and also for just setting down ground rules so you don't have a lot of friction, after the outset. So this is a really great opportunity, and I'm really glad that not only that I'm here, but that we're streaming it and you get to see it. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And also, I just have to say this out loud. Killer hat game. Awesome.
Thank you.
Brilliant. All right. And now over to Jenn.
Hi, I'm just like a regular person, so you can find me on Twitter at SoupDutchix. The E in Duchess is an X. I just kind of post whatever there. I'm really stoked about this campaign. It's been the first time I've played in a while. I've never streamed before, so there's a lot of new things. I don't really have anything to promote, but I guess Black Trans Lives Matter always. That's about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and playing. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Marcel does in this campaign. Very cool, very cool. All right, and finally, over to Alyssa.
My name is Alyssa. I'm excited to play out some hijinks on the high seas. Again, I did like a pirate one-shot once, and it was fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this one. And you can find me on this channel again on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern-ish for Dark Matter Ghost of Saltma, which is D&D 5e in space. And I am the station master for that one. So it's a lot of fun.
And also does a brilliant job of that. So please tune in for that, folks. If you want to see drama in space, it is delightful. But let's see. Where does what am I doing here? Once again, I am Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and some of my fiction and games I've been working on, along with links to game signups and applications to join our Discord. That's right down there, as you're watching this on Twitch. I just want to make sure I mention one more time that we've got a donation drive going for just a little bit longer for the Bail Project. That's through our campaign of the Sprawl. The folks in that campaign are doing it. We are Team Phyllis. So that's very important as it provides bail assistance to protesters. So please go and check that out. And also please check out Campaign 0. Again, which I'm also putting links to in the in the chat thingy, which is dedicated to ending police violence. So please check that out if you would. Now, what's happening on this channel? Well, there is a chance I might be streaming a little bit tomorrow. It so happens tomorrow's my birthday. So I am going to possibly get on and here and do some gaming, or possibly or read some monologues, which is something I haven't done since my 40th birthday. For my 40th birthday, I decided to start my midlife crisis early, and so I gave a concert of some of my monologues, and then retired a bunch of them, except for special occasions. And I figure it's been 5 years. Let's go ahead and read a few. So I will probably, I can't guarantee, I have to see what's happening tomorrow and how I feel, because I'm going to be incredibly lazy tomorrow. But I'm going to, but the difference is tomorrow it'll be on purpose, instead of just ADHD driven. So I will, we'll see what happens, but I might hop on to do a birthday stream. We'll see how we're feeling. But then Thursday evening, normally we have the Sprawl. I think we might actually be off this Thursday, because I think we said last time it was going to be 2 weeks to the finale. Maybe. I don't know if I'm making that up in my head or if that's a thing that I'm remembering from reality. But I will post on it. But I think that was actually a thing what we set up. As our thing, what is happening here. Let me check the copy real quick from last time. We're off. Okay. Yes, we are off this Thursday from the Sprawl, but we're gonna have it a week from Thursday night. That's our cyberpunk game powered by the Apocalypse. We're having the finale, so basically that means you've got about another week and a half if you want to pledge for the Bail Project, on our team at least. And And then Saturday night, I run Invisible Sun. We're actually getting close to the end of our to the finale of this season of Invisible Sun, which has been going. It's been a very long season. It's gone about a year, but we're gonna be sewing that up relatively soon. But that's Saturday night. Sunday afternoons we do one shots. The one shot this Sunday afternoon will be Stille Nacht. That is a historical ghost story. That takes place on a village on the German coast in the 1700s. I think it's a very cool game. We're going to be playing that. On Sunday nights, of course, we have the aforementioned Ghosts of Saltmaw Dark Matter campaign that I'm very much looking forward to. And then Monday evenings, I am over on Salty Sweet Games, playing in their campaign Strange Invasion, Assault on the Barrier Peaks, which is a 5e campaign. Then Tuesday night, 1 week from tonight, we're back around to this, where we will begin our 3-part epic as we get into 50 Fathoms and see what happens. Cannot wait for that. Sign-ups currently are open for a couple of things. We do have sign-ups open for Stille Nacht, because there are 2 sessions of that going on. The one this weekend is being run by Kat. That one's full, and I need to reflect that in the sign-up form. But there is one that I am running that I have not cast yet. That's going to be near the end of the month. So if you want to sign up for that one is still undecided on cast. Then I also have sign-ups open for a one-shot of Monster of the Week that's going to be coming up about a week from Sunday, and our good friend of the channel, Pope, will be running that, Pope World build, so very much looking forward to see what he does. We ran a short campaign of Monster of the Week here. I ran one on this channel not too long ago, and I am excited to get to play it, because one rarely has the opportunity, so I'm seizing it. But sign-ups are open for that if you would like to join us. So that will be coming up soon. If you want to sign up for something, go to jimmyesthatjim.com and click on Game Sign Up, or just go down below here on the Twitch page and click on RPG Sign Up. As always, beginners are welcome. So, when we hit the end card, I'm going to send a raid over to someone. Let's see. Who shall we raid? You know what? Mem is streaming right now. We might actually go and say hi to her, possibly. The commercial is currently running, but hopefully she's still over there. Looks like she's still over there, so we'll go over there. We'll go over there and say hi to her. Feel free to come along and say hi to them with us. That'll be again when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will see you next week. Farewell.